What is up, everybody? Today we're going to be taking a look at Wix Studio and how to build this exact layout that you see right here. Now, if you look at the length of this YouTube video, yeah, it's on the longer side, but we're talking like 30-something minutes to create this from scratch, including all the interactivity. All right, so I'm going to show you exactly how to utilize many of the Wix Studio features, but really we're only just touching on a little bit of it. If this video intrigues you, you should definitely check out my brand new course. It literally just released today, and that is really all about utilizing the power of Wix Studio to not only just build really cool, interactive, animated landing pages, but to also establish your business there, your agency. Whether you're a freelancer or you have your own agency, it is the perfect tool to really manage your clients and also to build awesome apps. So definitely check out that course. There's a coupon code here in the link of the top link of the description of YouTube, and I hope you all take it. Let's see how Wix Studio can work. All right, so to get started, we're going to create a new site, and we're going to choose right here the Studio blank canvas. And of course, you could choose a template. You can take a look at the template marketplace to get a more polished start rather than just starting with the blank canvas. So this is gonna load up in just a couple seconds, and then we'll be in the main Wix Studio editor where we basically work and get our site ready. So first thing we can see at the top here, and I'm just gonna real quickly describe the UI. It's very similar to other low no-code tools in terms of the setup, so it's familiar. Over here, we have all of our tools. Like for instance, if you want to see all the layers, very common right here. You have all your pages right here. You have in this area a visual sitemap, the site styles. So you can save your variables for your colors, your typography, all that good stuff. Media section over here where you can upload your own assets, but also you can use Unsplash and Shutterstock and do a search, or you can use their AI image creator as well. And then now over here we have global sections. This is stuff like your footer and your header. Over here we have the app marketplace. So yes, there's a bunch of apps. Then we have a business section. We're not going to get into that. The CMS, of course, if you want to make your site dynamic and be able to bring in, basically essentially serve as a CRUD app, if you will, you can tie that to the CMS, which is covered in the course as well. And then a code section as well. We're not going to mess with integrating custom code or anything like that for this very simple demo. So up here, of course, almost every website is going to have a header nav bar of some sort. For us, we're not even going to have it. This is going to be a simple demonstration to see how fast, just to show you how fast we can get up and running with basically like a landing page or a marketing page. So over here, if I come over here to layers, we can just hit delete. Now also on the right-hand side, we'll be in Property Inspector. Again, a very common pattern. That's where if you select something, all the associated properties that you can adjust will show up on the right sidebar, which we'll see in a second. And of course up here, we have our tablet, desktop, tablet, and mobile preview. You click on this, it's just gonna update the preview right here for us. And then the other things to worry about here is just you click publish and it'll be up and live on a live URL that you can share very quickly. And then of course, if it's a serious project, you can tie a custom domain to it as well. And then over here, we have a preview section, which kind of just shows you in the browser what it might look like. I personally like to hit publish a lot and just look at and open up a new browser window to see exactly what it looks like without having the UI of Wix Studio here. So let's go back to edit site. And the first thing that you'll notice here is, choose your starting point. Do you want to have a design section, a grid layout, or do you want to add an element? So for us, we're going to choose a design section. And basically, these are just template starting points, and they're categorized based on, like if you want to have a section like that's going to talk about the founders or something. So there'll be like an about section, and there's a bunch of different templates that you can just literally click, and it'll just throw it right into the UI. Then you can go ahead and update it in terms of the visual aesthetics, like the background, strokes, borders, rounded corners. You can update the content and the text, obviously, the images. So everything can be very customized. You can add interaction. So this is exactly what we're going to do. Now, of course, if we choose grid layout, this will just give you the scaffolding of a layout, okay? It would be up to you to fill out these individual cells, so to speak. And so we're not going to mess with that. Again, the goal here of this video is to get things rapidly produced. But of course, in the course that I released today, the Wix Studio course, we go over all this stuff as well in detail. So what I'm going to do is just go to sections, and I'm going to click the very first one. So this is going to be our hero section. And if I left click it, it'll show up right here in the middle. And of course, we can go ahead and preview it. And guess what? There we go. We have our hero section already designed. Now, of course, we want to customize this. We want to make this our own somehow. So let's go ahead and get rid of that. So if I select, for instance, and one of the things you want to do is get into the habit of bringing out the layer section. So you can see this layer right here. I'm going to go ahead and zoom out just a bit. There we go. Now you can see what we have, our H1 is selected. And so if we want to update that text, literally just double click and there we go. So let's come up with a fictional headline of some sort. Maybe we'll make this, I'm going to think of this off the top of my head, a fictional business idea that we can kind of create for. Let's just say it has something to do with fishing. All right. So just type in superior bait. Okay. So obviously, with the size of that text, it's just way too large. So over here in the property inspector, you can see it's structured with 3 different tabs. So the first one is just the design tab. This is where you make all your design settings. And you know what shows up here is dependent on what type of element you have selected. So we have text here. There's a bunch of text options as well. And so what we want to do is right down here in the font size section, we'll see the font size is 197 pixels, which is huge. Let's just put in 100 and see what that does. So that looks actually pretty good. We can probably go a little bit higher. So let's try 120. We just don't want it to get cut off. Now you can see over here, there's a max min section. So this basically means what is the maximum size that this type should reach based on the viewport, you know, like so on like a desktop on a 4K monitor, the browser maximized, it won't get larger than 200. But that doesn't make sense because right now the preferred font size is like 120. So we're going to put 120 here, and then we'll see what the minimum size looks like. So what we could do is just hit this preview, and you can see it will scale down. You see how it scales down? There we go. So superior bait, I might make that a little bit smaller. I believe it was 77, so let's try something like 58 or so. There we go. All right, so that's better. Okay, now let's say, for instance, we want to change this background. This may look like a background image, but it's actually not. It's a gradient. So if I take the welcome section right here, make sure that's selected, you'll see we have this gradient. Now, what we can do, and it's a conic gradient, by the way, you can have a solid color here if you want. We can have this color by default, and you can adjust all the settings with that to make it unique. Or we can also have this type of gradient, a fluid gradient, which is actually really cool, and that's what we're going to use. So if we take the upper left color picker right here, we can go right here and then specify another color. So I can just add a color, and I'm going to choose something like this. And what's awesome is it's going to show you exactly what this thing looks like live right here as you're making adjustments. Let's see, I didn't do that properly. Let's go over here. Yeah, we'll choose that and hit apply. All right, we'll do another one. Let's see, we'll make this one maybe more on the blue side. Yeah, we'll just choose that one by default. And then this one, let's take this one in the lower right corner real quickly. I don't know if I like that. Let's hit add. All right, so one thing to note is notice how the text is white on a very light background. That's bad contrast, so that's bad readability. You 100% want to avoid that. And you can either, adjust for that by making this text black, but then white text next to black text doesn't really make sense, or by adjusting the background. And so the background in this case, once again, if we go back to our welcome section, come over here, We want to adjust this real quickly. There we go. All right, so now it's darker, which is, now it's 100% fine because we can actually see exactly what's happening here. All right, so superior bait. Now, this hero section, it's set up so that the height is 100% of the viewport height. That's the viewable area, like either in the browser, on the desktop, on your laptop, or your PC, or on your phone or your tablet. So it's always going to be the 100% viewable height. Now, with that said, there's a lot of empty space here, and it's kind of boring. So let's remedy that. And there's a few ways you can quickly, without even having to touch code, add some interesting animations and interactions. So what I'll do is I'm going to select, let's see, we'll select in this cell right here, and we're going to click the plus sign up here under Add Elements. So when we do that, we could come over here in this area under Decorative, and we can add what's called a transparent video. So if I click this, we're going to click on more transparent videos at the bottom. And this is going to give you a big list of what they have that's, basically transparent videos where you can do all sorts of, or integrate all sorts of interesting things. So if you want a shark that's going to be, floating around, you could do that easily. You know what? I think we might actually do this. I wasn't going to, but yeah, let's see what it's like. Let's just type in fish. All right, so it has this one right here. This one actually might be cool too, but let's just go ahead and choose this shark right here. I don't know if this is going to look good. I didn't try it. I didn't want it in this cell, so I'm going to delete that and just go back to this cell and paste that in. There we go. So now we can kind of increase the size of this, and let's see what this looks like. Okay. That's actually pretty cool. Let me move this. All right, let's see what that looks like. All right, that's actually pretty cool. So let's do another element where we have a little bit of mouse interaction with it. So let's put in, hit plus. We're going to go back to decorative, and this time we're just going to go to icons, and I'm going to click more icons, and I'm going to type in heart. All right, I kind of like this heart right here. So let's click add to page. Once again, let's just get this situated so we can bring that over. So copy that, just like the cell, paste this. And we can actually, when it comes to all the icons of the vector, we can change the color as well. So if I want to make this black, we just select that and choose black. Let's make this kind of bigger. And I want this to be underneath the transparent video. So I'm just going to drag that on top, the transparent video layer. Now, what's cool is if we preview this, this is what that looks like. Okay, it's interesting now, a lot more interesting than it was, but we can make it a little bit more interesting with some mouse movement. And so what we'll do is take the vector art, and right over here on this section, animations, we're going to choose mouse effects. We're going to click plus, we're going to click add, and these are all just different mouse effects that you can apply to things like, these assets right here. So for instance, if we want it to track, meaning it's going to follow the mouse, we click this, and then click at the very bottom, adjust animation, and it's going to give you some properties that are tied to the tracking, to the mouse tracking. So you can see follow mouse, or you can invert the mouse, and you could do a preview, literally right here. So with these current settings, with the distance of about 250 pixels and a velocity of 0.5, movement axis, you can constrain this to just horizontal or vertical movement. Right now it's both. And then you can have easing as well. This is exactly what it looks like. What I suggest doing is experimenting with these values. So if you take this just to 60 pixels, it means it's only going to move by 60 pixels from its original position. All right, so this is super cool. And if you were to try to implement this in code, this would be a fair amount of JavaScript that you would have to know. So super handy. And let's go ahead and hit publish at this point. I'm going to hit, and you could just specify a custom URL at the end here, and then hit save and continue. And that quickly, it's already up. And there we go. So if I decrease this real quick, we'll see what this looks like so far. and it's tracking the mouse, and it's super cool looking. Okay, so let's continue on. Let's go back here, and let's go ahead and add another section. So how do you add another section? Well, let's select the section that we currently just worked on, the welcome section. And when you hover at the bottom, you'll see where it says add section. So you click that, and that's very familiar. This is what we started off with the previous section. So like landing pages especially, they're section by section. And that's how this is structured. So you can choose, if you want, another design section. So let's click on, this time, wireframes. And this is another way that we can get just general, I guess you could say, section templates. So for instance, let's choose this one right here. So this right here is kind of like two sections in one. We have a title with a little brief description underneath it, and then we have 4 cards underneath it as well, in which we can modify all this stuff, including making the icons custom and that stuff. So let's say we don't want to have this title. No big deal. Click it, delete, you're done. Now let's also say for this piece of type, we want this to be larger, all right? And so what we do, again, just come over here. Let's increase the font size. And let's also increase the width. So I'm going to hold Alt and drag this out. So as you can see, it's very intuitive. It's kind of like Figma in a way, where you can quickly just design while working in the scaffolding and the structure of an actual web page with markup, because this is what this is. So let's see what this looks like, just a real quick preview. We always get in the habit of taking a look at what everything looks like. And of course, you can also modify it down as well. So I would say this text is too large now for a mobile viewport. But what I like to do is to make sure first we get everything looking good in desktop first, like this larger view. So this is fine right here. What we can also do is, let's come over here. Let's say, for instance, we don't want this background here, right? What we can do is, this is basically an image, it looks like. So if we take this down all the way to 0, guess what? We're not going to see it. Not a big deal, but it still works on its own. So again, just taking a look at what this looks like. That looks solid. Okay, so now let's say, for instance, we're going to have another section. Now we're going to add more interactivity and all that good stuff down here. Let's click Add Section now and come over here to plus, and let's take a look at some other interesting types of sections. So let's take a look at, I'm not sure if it's under media. It might be. Let's go to text. Yes, text masks. Let's click this one. Now what's cool about this is, I think by default the video background that it has chosen has to do with the ocean, I think. So let's click on this one actually. Change background. So what's cool is we can double click and update this. Superior bait. All right. And then let's go ahead and increase the size just a bit. So Shift Alt. And also, let's take a look at getting this organized just a bit better. So let's go to our layers. We have our section here, and we have our text mask inside of it. Okay, so with the text mask selected, we could see down here we have what's called docking, margins, and padding. And clearly right now at the top, it's up above in a negative, I guess, pixel of negative 18 pixels. So we don't want that. And so what we could do is we can adjust this manually. Maybe we could put this to 100. So now it's more pretty much in the center or so. Additionally, what we could do is, let's take a preview of this. See how cool that is? Easy text masks without having to worry about code. All right, we're going to do some other really cool stuff with this section, but we're going to do one more section at the end. We'll do add section. And this time, another design section. And let's take a look at, let's see here. There was a specific one I wanted to use because I liked it. Let's choose this one. All right. So again, once again, this is a section that I believe is set at fit to screen, right there, which means it's a fluid height right here. It's going to stay to the height of the browser. Of course, if you didn't want that, you can adjust it to a fixed height and all that good stuff. So now let's go ahead and take this, and we can modify the image itself by clicking into it, and then eventually you get the change image button. So again, if I type in fish, you know, maybe we'll have some type of very interesting fish picture. Let's click that. Fish swimming. Let's update that. There we go. Let's click on this. Let's hit change image. Let's just do ocean for this one. Maybe we want something that contrasts. Maybe this is a fisherman person on a little raft thingy. Okay. And then we have a section with some type in it. And again, just have fun with it. Like for instance, you know, maybe we want to make this background darker. Maybe we want this background. We'll leave it like that. So we have an interesting section right here. If we view this in the browser, there we go. So we've just built out this landing page. It's not the most exciting thing ever yet. We've done it in record time though, essentially. So now, let's say for instance, we want to add some interesting interactivity. Like for instance, maybe when, we'll start up here actually. Let's take this H1. Let's say for instance, when it appears, when the page loads, it's going to animate the text up and in. How would you do that? Very simple. We click over, we select the text, we come over here to this tab, animation effects, and then this is going to be an entrance animation. So when these will animate when the element comes into view of the viewport. So even when you're scrolling down, once it comes into view, it will do something based on the preset that you chose. So let's click add, and as you can see, there's a lot. You can make it blur in, you can make it glide in, you could do a reveal, you could do a slide. So if I click reveal, guess what? It's showing you. What about a slide? I like the slide the best. So you can, of course, adjust the animation with these properties right here by clicking that. We have the distance that it should travel, the durations, 1.2 seconds, and then a delay, and then you can choose the easing. And the easing right here, it's all about, you know, how things animate based on that 1.2 second duration. Is it going to start in slow and then end up fast and move in there? That's what this stuff is right here. So very fun to play with. So let's do the same thing right here with this piece of type. We'll click add. It'll be the same type of animation. Let's choose slide. And then this time we will adjust the delay to like 0.3 seconds. That way the headline comes in first and then that type comes in first. Let's check it out. Very cool. So if we view that again, very, very cool. So this is already a very cool hero section that we've created. Now, what about this section? This is a space to welcome visitors to the site. Of course, we would want to update that, but this text right here, we could do the same thing essentially. So an entrance animation where it will slide in, okay? And we can even do the same thing here. Now, what's really cool and unique about this section where there's 4 different cards, this is set up on what's called a repeater, and we could see it in the layers section right here. We have a repeater. What this means is if we make an adjustment to the design of this card right here, it's going to make an adjustment to all the other ones. Now, of course, that's not specific to things like the icons. Those will stay unique as they currently are if you make a change to those. But if you make a change, for instance, to the animation of one of them, which we're about to do, it will make all of them animate as well. So for instance, if I take, let's see here, item 1. So make sure we have the item selected, and we want to do an entrance animation of slide. All right, so let's see what this looks like. See, so notice how they all slid in. All right, so let's click this, take a look, scroll down. Yeah, see how cool that is? That's how easy it is to add these type of animations, interactive animations, because traditionally without it, you'd be stuck with JavaScript. All right, superior bait. Let me show you another really cool thing that we can do as well. So we'll take superior bait. Let's add a animation, a slide animation as well. And then with that selection selected, let's go ahead and click plus. Let's go back to decorative. Let's do icons. And let's click more, And then I'm going to choose, let's see here, free. Maybe there's, I just need an interesting tag of some sort. I really didn't think about this. Animal. All right, maybe we'll do fish. Okay, let's do this fish right here. Add to page. Okay, so this gets super fun. Now if I move this around, currently it's on top. Maybe I want that to be behind, so let's go ahead and get our layers out. Let's put it underneath. Okay, now what we can do is we can choose with that selected and we have our animation effects tab open, we could choose mouse effects and click add. And once again, we'll do track. So we're gonna do another track up here. I forgot, we already did this in the hero section, but might as well do it here as well. So, oh no, it's not tracking. So let's see why that would be. All right, so track, adjust animation. All right, move mouse to preview. There we go. Okay. So now, let's go back up, edit site. There we go. Look how cool that is. Super, super cool. Let's continue on. We can add some hover-based effects as well. So let's say, for instance, and let's go ahead and create entrance animations for these as well. So we'll take the image itself, and the image itself will do the entrance animation of slide. Very cool. Let's see what shutters does. Ah, that is cool. Let's click adjust and adjust it from top. Preview. Nice, I like that. Okay, let's do the same thing for this area as well. So we'll do an entrance of shutters, and this will be from top. Maybe we'll have a 0.3 second delay. Okay, so let's see what that looks like. Very, very cool. And then additionally, we can stack these animation effects on top of each other. So we'll take the image once again, and we'll do a hover. Let's click add. And for the hover, let's do expand. All right, so it'll show you a quick preview, especially if you click this, click preview. Notice how it kind of, it exceeds the actual bounding of the section. I don't want that. So what we'll do is take our cell. Now let's come back here. We have to get to the point where it shows overflow content. Right there. We want to hide that. So now if we go back to image and we go back to our animations effects, hover, expand, click adjust, and then preview, it does not exceed the top of that. So to see this in action, all we have to do is just hover over it. Look how easily, very simple. We would have to be doing CSS animations for this in order for that to work. So now we can do the same thing over here, and we can do a hover, add, expand. All right, and we'll have to do the same thing over here. So we have our cell. Let's go back. Oh, I think I did that on the cell itself. I think that's okay. Maybe it's not. Let's go back. I forgot to select the image, so what I'll do is just remove that and then select the image itself and apply the hover expand. There we go. And then make sure that the cell, the parent container, after selecting it, has overflow hide. Okay, so now they're both going to hover as we wish. Now this right here, for some reason, it's not working, only if I scroll to the top. What I could do is hit publish and then click and view this in the browser. All right, there we go, it's working. Ah, there we go, very nice. All right, so let's go back and make some more adjustments. All right. And let's click edit site. One thing I saw that I didn't like is notice how this element is not kind of centered here. So I would take it, the stack itself, and these are alignment options up here. So where we could center it vertically or horizontally. So we're gonna center that vertical. That makes way more sense. And again, we could still have a lot of fun with this, with the animations. So for instance, if we do an entrance animation, Like what is a reveal? Okay, we can expand. All right, let's just do that. So now it'll expand in. That is how simple it is to make these modifications. Now this button, I would like to see that centered as well. All right. So now if I hit publish and we click view site, we're going to see what this looks like as it's intended. So let's scroll down. All right. We have this animation. We have this very cool superior bait thing. And we have our interactive sections that animate based on scroll location. Now, another thing that we, definitely makes sense to do is to drag this browser in to see how things are looking at different mobile viewports. So this right here, I would scale this type down. I'll show you how to do that. All these are looking good. This is looking good. And of course, because we used a predefined section template, it automatically has responsiveness kind of baked into the section. So notice they're no longer in 3 columns next to each other. They're in 3 rows that are stacked on top of each other, which is the pattern that you would use for this for mobile. So let's go back into our editor. And what we could do if we want to make those adjustments, we can go to tablet right here and start making adjustments to the font sizes, or we could wait till we get to the phone viewport and make our adjustments there. It's all up to you. So what I would do is maybe take this and scale it down just a little bit from where it was, from 24 to 20 for the font size right here. And then that will apply and remain intact for any of the viewports that are smaller than that one. So like this viewport, it'll stay there, and then we can make it even smaller, maybe like size 18 or 17 on this section. So now, if we preview this, we'll see if we expand it, it's going to get larger. You see how the text gets larger like that? Another thing to note is if I hit publish again real quickly and we click view site, one of the things to note is that you may not want to have 100% fluid layout where on like a 4K monitor that's with a browser that's maximized like this, you may not want to have a situation where the layout expands all the way to the very left and right. And if you don't want that, which I don't because I think things are spaced out a little bit too far, you can do this. Let me show you real quick. We come over here and with, for instance, this welcome section, what we can do is this little toggle, apply max width. All right, and it's going to tell you the site's max width is set to 1600 pixels. So you can click apply max width and nothing visible changes. However, if we expand this out, notice how it stays at 1600 pixels. All right, so that's super, super cool. And we can apply that in a few of the other areas as well. So for instance, I would apply it on this section grid right here, apply max width. I would apply it on this section as well. Oh, it already is applied. So some of them may come with it applied already. And then we have our products. I would apply it there as well. So now if we hit publish and we wait for it to load, we click view site. Notice now it's not going all the way to the very left and very right of the browser. It's staying fixed within that section, the 100% width section. And that's very cool. So as you can see, it is super easy, super fast to rapidly create landing pages and websites with Wix Studio. And hopefully, we only kind of just touched on a little bit of it, but if you really want to learn more, there's so much more to learn. Definitely check out my brand new Wix Studio course. The link is in the top link of the YouTube description here. There's a coupon code there, and I hope to see you all join it. See you soon.